My cup is too big for the chair's cup holder. Teardrops head first. Right now, if you hear the video in the background, it's crime pays, but botany doesn't. And they're talking about growing plants in illegal spaces for plants. In their case, it's good like motivation, but not good for me. Maybe good for you if you're in the West Coast area. Just a lot of their plants, while interesting and natural survivors, wouldn't do well in Georgia or might, on the contrary, do far too well in our wet environment. Either way, make sure you grow native to your area. It takes a little bit of homework, but it's well worth the research. Pays in abundance. Sorry, y'all. is now 2:30. My humble opinion, Colorado needs to focus on growing more like sappy, well, I don't know, because sap could be its own downfall too. I'm thinking sappy plants because that way if a fire starts nearby, something like a good conifer like what we have in the south absorbs all the water it can and then can practically extinguish a fire. The problem is California is an entirely different biome, so it's like, what could be, hey, this seems like a good idea, could also very quickly turn into a wicked and explosive. Because that same sap that can put out a fire when superheated can turn into an accelerant. Because nature is fun and dangerous. That's why you always gotta do your own homework, y'all. Know your area. It's sort of like how I really want to get catnip and catgrass growing wild around the house here. For obvious reasons. We've got a lot of cats, both feral and otherwise. And it's like, I kind of want to get that going, kind of don't want to hurt the natural environment. It's about preserving it, not altering it. But at the same time, we have to alter it a certain degree because we've lost so many species in between. I don't know, the politics are important, y'all, don't get it twisted, they are, but to a certain degree, it's like, I don't know, we can't let the politics exhaust us. The politics are always going to be there because it behooves some people that they'll make a lot of money off of it. If it's a problem that we could solve, I'd give more care to it, because then, oh, we get rid of the fascists this way, we move forward to a balanced democracy this way, bang, boom, done. But it's not that way in politics. It's more of, okay, we won this battle in this field, now we have to win this battle in this field. And then it's a hydra. And yeah, that's important, but I mean, we're literally fighting over who's going to rule over the embers right now. It feels like, regardless of sides, we need to, hey, wouldn't it be nice to have a fucking planet? That's the other side, is Disney taught us all that, oh, nature's a beautiful wonder and everything's in balance. No, no, no. Friends, I need to tell you right now, nature is war. Nature is constant, never-ending war. Nature is the state of the planet constantly eating and recycling material, dead or otherwise. Some of that material doesn't want to be recycled. That being said, nature is constantly, that's what it does. Nothing goes to waste. I mean, it's beautiful, but it's to be respected, you know? I mean, nature don't care that you're out studying the park. If you fuck up, if you slip up, if our mother catches you fucking, you know, if she catches you slipping, you get to serve nature in another method. That being said, I'm not judging nobody, because hell, we've all almost, slipped up a time or two. Got a little too close to the waterway when the current was up. Got a little too close to that venomous spider. Tried that plant that was just a teeny bit poisonous. Y'all know what it is. We've all been slipping before. Trick is just that. Gotta respect what we're playing with, so to speak. comedy be on the cutting edge because we keep it on the cutting edge. What is it, my goober? You want up on the couch? Alright. Give me just a second. Let me get to a safe spot. Now, I'll get you up on the couch, little goober. Just let me get someplace I ain't gonna get attacked or blown up. Okay, let's get the goober up on the couch where him wanna go. Ready? Oh, him's ready. We go. Oh, him's a good boy. Get you a good spot, goober, because I don't think Alice wants you on top of her. There you go. Good boy. Good girl. Everybody be good.
I think that as long as I stick to the attitude I have now and the things I'm doing now, I don't have too much to worry about. I think at some point you have to realize what is yours and what is not. And I think that when you are becoming known for the first time and all the feelings that come with that, you might trick yourself into thinking that it's all for you and it's just for this you. When really it's a moment, and I think that what you do with that moment is very important. And if you handle it well, and if you carry yourself well, then you establish yourself for a long time. Because it's not as if the most popular comedians that we reference when we think about stand-up comedy were a flash in the pan. We think about the people who stayed, and I think they stayed because of what was built around them and what they did with it. And it really doesn't matter what you do. This goes for comedy, but it goes for every type of creative output. Because I know that people now are very worried about AI. They're very worried about being replaced before they even get started. And I think that being afraid of the tool and that stopping from getting started is like wanting to build a table and just staring at a hammer and being like, well, I mean, the hammer can do it better than me. And yes, but the hammer also needs you to do anything. You know, like AI is not. AI is being used. It's not coming in with its own thinking ideas. Like I'm gonna make the next best blockbuster all by myself. A person is behind that thing, and so as a creator, you may not have the most money. You may not even have the most support. Maybe the first two things you make people don't like, and they let you know the way the internet does. But I think that there is a like a badge of honor around perseverance that we don't really talk about until somebody's won the Academy Award or until they've won or until they're at the top. But there are plenty of people in the middle and a ton of people working their way up that have that perseverance that have already started, and I don't think anyone's ever worse off for starting to do the things that it is they want to do.
Oh gosh, I wish the rest of the planet could be as sane as you are about all of this.
I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I could still snap. Who knows?
You haven't done it yet, and you're thinking about it hard, which is half the battle. Josh Johnson, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. It's nice to meet you.
That was Josh Johnson on getting interviewed on the BBC. We do love us some Josh Johnson. See, the problem is so much of this stuff is like just drama that, again, if you're into, I'm not going to judge you for it. I don't see the point. And some of it's like horrible drama that I'm like, damn, but at the same time, I can't do shit about, you know? So it's like, I don't see the point. I like to try to stick with shit we can change or shit we can do something about. And sometimes just knowing things, you know? I'm just not seeing that much entertaining at the moment. But let's let the phone take its sweet ass time. We'll switch over to Audible for a little bit.
Chapter 1. The Sixth Extinction. Apolopus zeteki. The town of El Valle de Anton, in central Panama, sits in the middle of a volcanic crater formed about 1 million years ago. The crater is almost 4 miles wide, but when the weather is clear, you can see the jagged hills that surround the town, like the walls of a ruined tower. El Valle has one main street, a police station, and an open-air market. In addition to the usual assortment of Panama hats and vividly colored embroidery, the market offers what must be the world's largest selection of golden frog figurines. There are golden frogs resting on leaves, and golden frogs sitting up on their haunches, and, rather more difficult to understand, golden frogs clasping cell phones. There are golden frogs wearing frilly skirts, and golden frogs striking dance poses, and golden frogs smoking cigarettes.
Child, do not claw my belly.
The golden frog, which is taxicab yellow with dark brown splotches, is endemic to the area around El Valle. It is considered a lucky symbol in Panama. Its images, or at least used to be, printed on lottery tickets. As recently as a decade ago, golden frogs were easy to spot in the hills around El Valle. The frogs are toxic. It's been calculated that the poison contained in the skin of just one animal could kill 1,000 average-sized mice. Hence the vivid color, which makes them stand out against the forest floor. One creek not far from El Valle is nicknamed Thousand Frog Street. A person walking along it would see so many golden frogs sunning themselves on the banks that, as one herpetologist who made the trip many times put it to me, it was insane. Absolutely insane. Then the frogs around El Valle started to disappear. The problem, it was not yet perceived as a crisis, was first noticed to the west, near Panama's border with Costa Rica. An American graduate student happened to be studying frogs in the rainforest there. She went back to the States for a while to write her dissertation, and when she returned, she couldn't find any frogs, or for that matter, amphibians of any kind. She had no idea what was going on, but since she needed frogs for her research, she set up a new study site, farther east. At first, the frogs at the new site seemed healthy. Then the same thing happened. The amphibians vanished. The blight spread through the rainforest until, in 2002, the frogs in the hills and streams around the town of Santa Fe, about 50 miles west of El Valle, were effectively wiped out. In 2004, little corpses began showing up even closer to El Valle, around the town of El Copay. By this point, a group of biologists, some from Panama, others from the United States, had concluded that the golden frog was in grave danger. They decided to try to preserve a remnant population by removing a few dozen of each sex from the forest and raising them indoors. But whatever was killing the frogs was moving even faster than the biologists had feared. Before they could act on their plan, the wave hit. I first read about the frogs of El Valle in a nature magazine for children that I picked up for my kids. The article, which was illustrated with full-color photos of the Panamanian golden frog and other brilliantly colored species, told the story of the spreading scourge and the biologists' effort to get out in front of it. The biologists had hoped to have a new lab facility constructed in El Valle, but it was not ready in time. They raced to save as many animals as possible, even though they had nowhere to keep them. So what did they end up doing? They put them in a frog hotel, of course. The Incredible Frog Hotel, really a local bed and breakfast, agreed to let the frogs stay in their tanks in a block of rented rooms. With biologists at their beck and call, the frogs enjoyed first-class accommodations that included maid and room service, the article noted. The frogs were also served delicious fresh meals. So fresh, in fact, the food could hop right off the plate. Just a few weeks after I read about the Incredible Frog Hotel, I ran across another frog-related article, written in a rather different key. This one, which appeared in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, was by a pair of herpetologists. It was titled, "Are We in the Midst of the Sixth Mass Extinction? A View from the World of Amphibians." The authors, David Waite of the University of California, Berkeley, and Vance Friedenberg of San Francisco State, noted that there have been 5 great mass extinctions during the history of life on this planet. These extinctions they described as events that led to a profound loss of biodiversity. The first took place during the late Ordovician period, some 450 million years ago, when living things were still mainly confined to the water. The most devastating took place at the end of the Permian period, some 250 million years ago, and it came perilously close to emptying the Earth out altogether. This event is sometimes referred to as the mother of mass extinctions, or the Great Dying. The most recent and famous mass extinction came at the close of the Cretaceous period. It wiped out, in addition to the dinosaurs, the plesiosaurs, the mosasaurs, the ammonites, and the pterosaurs. Lincoln Friedenberg argued that, based on extinction rates among amphibians, an event of a similarly catastrophic nature is currently underway. Their article was illustrated with just one photograph of about a dozen mountain yellow-legged frogs, all dead, lying bloated and belly up on some rocks. I understood why a kids magazine had opted to publish photos of live frogs rather than dead ones. I also understood the impulse to play up the Beatrix Potter-like charms of amphibians ordering room service. Still, it seemed to me, as a journalist, that the magazine had buried the lead. Any event that has occurred just 5 times since the first animal with a backbone appeared, some 500 million years ago, must qualify as exceedingly rare. The notion that a fifth such event would be taking place right now, more or less in front of our eyes, struck
It
me
is
as
3 o'clock
the technical term.
here in Georgia.
Surely this story, too, the bigger, darker, far more consequential one, deserved telling. If Wake and Friedenberg were correct, then those of us alive today not only are witnessing one of the rarest events in life's history, we are also causing it. One greedy species, the pair observed, has unwittingly achieved the ability to directly affect its own fate and that of most of the other species on this planet. A few days after I read Wake and Friedenberg's article, I booked a ticket to Panama. The Elvalle Amphibian Conservation Center, or EVAC, lies along a dirt road not far from the open-air market where the golden frog figurines are sold. It's about the size of a suburban ranch house, and it occupies the back corner of a small, sleepy zoo, just beyond a cage of very sleepy sloths. The entire building is filled with tanks. There are tanks lined up against the walls, and more tanks stacked at the center of the room, like books on the shelves of a library. The taller tanks are occupied by species like the lemur tree frog, which lives in the forest canopy. The shorter tanks serve for species like the big-headed robber frog, which lives on the forest floor. Tanks of horned marsupial frogs, which carry their eggs in a pouch, sit next to tanks of casque-headed frogs, which carry their eggs on their backs. A few dozen tanks are devoted to Panamanian golden frogs, Atelopus zateki. Golden frogs have a distinctive ambling gait that makes them look a bit like drunks trying to walk a straight line. They have long, skinny limbs, pointy yellow snouts, and very dark eyes, through which they seem to be regarding the world warily. At the risk of sounding weak-minded, I will say that they look intelligent. In the wild, females lay their eggs in shallow running water. Males, meanwhile, defend their territory from the tops of mossy rocks. In EVAC, each golden frog tank has its own running water, provided by its own little hose, so that the animals can breathe near a simulacrum of the streams that were once their home. In one of the ersatz streams, I noticed strings of little pearl-like eggs. On a whiteboard nearby, someone had noted excitedly that one of the frogs depositó huevos. EVAC sits more or less in the middle of the golden frog's range, but it is, by design, entirely cut off from the outside world. Nothing comes into the building that has not been thoroughly disinfected, including the frogs, which, in order to gain entry, must first be treated with a solution of bleach. Human visitors are required to wear special shoes, and to leave behind any bags or knapsacks or equipment that they use out in the field. All of the water that enters the tanks has been filtered and specially treated. The sealed-off nature of the place leaves it the field of a submarine, or, perhaps more aptly, an ark in mid-deluge. EVAC's director is a Panamanian named Edgardo Griffith. Griffith is tall and broad-shouldered, with a round face and a wide smile. He wears a silver ring in his ear, and has a large tattoo of a toad skeleton on his left chin. Now in his mid-30s, Griffith has devoted pretty much his entire adult life to the amphibians of Elvalle, and he has turned his wife, an American who came to Panama as a Peace Corps volunteer, into a frog person too. Griffith was the first person to notice when little carcasses started showing up in the area, and he personally collected many of the several hundred amphibians that got booked into the hotel. The animals were transferred to evac once the building had been completed. If evac is a sort of art, Griffith becomes its Noah, the one on extended duty, since already he's been at things a good deal longer than 40 days. Griffith told me that part of his job was getting to know the frogs as individuals. Every one of them has the same value to me as an elephant, he said. The first time I visited evac, Griffith pointed out to me the representatives of species that are now extinct in the wild. These included, in addition to the Panamanian golden frog, the Rab's
Sounds like the cats that voiced their annoyance with the food
At
choice.
the time of my visit, evac was down to just one Rab's frog, so the possibility of saving even a single Noachian pair had obviously passed. The frog, greenish-brown with yellow speckles, was about 4 inches long, with oversized feet that gave it the look of a gawky teenager. Rab's fringe-limbed tree frogs lived in the forest above El Valle, and they laid their eggs in tree holes. In an unusual, perhaps even unique arrangement, the male frogs cared for the tadpoles by allowing their young, quite literally, to eat the skin off their backs. Griffith said that he thought there were probably many other amphibian species that had been missed in the initial collecting rush for evac and had since vanished. It was hard to say how many, since most of them are probably unknown to science. Unfortunately, he told me, we are losing all these amphibians before we even know that they exist. Even the regular people in El Valle, they notice it. He said, they tell me, what happened to the frogs? We don't hear them calling anymore. When the first reports that frog populations were crashing began to circulate a few decades ago, some of the most knowledgeable people in the field were the most skeptical. Amphibians are, after all, among the planet's great survivors. The ancestors of today's frogs crawled out of the water some 400 million years ago, and by 250 million years ago, the earliest representatives of what would become the modern amphibian orders. One includes frogs and toads, the second, newts and salamanders, and the third, weird limbless creatures called Sicilians, had evolved. This means that amphibians have been around not just longer than mammals, say, or birds. They have been around since before there were dinosaurs. Most amphibians, the word
I'm
comes
sorry,
from
for some reason when they said
life.
Sicilians, I pictured Sophia Petrillo and thought, well, that's...
The ancient Egyptians thought that frogs
She was
were
wearing
produced by
makeup.
coming
So that's
from
kind of
land and
accurate,
water.
but not really fair.
Their eggs, which have no
Don't
shells,
make fun of
must have
Sicilians.
kept
They've
moist
been
and
through a lot of
developed.
bullshit in
There are many
history.
frogs that, like the
Throughout
Panamanian
history, I
golden
should
frog,
say.
lay their eggs in streams. There are also frogs that lay them in temporary pools, frogs that lay them underground, and frogs that lay them in nests that they construct out of foam. In addition to frogs that carry their eggs on their backs and in pouches, there are frogs that carry them wrapped like bandages around their legs. Until recently, when both of them went extinct, there were two species of frogs, known as bastard brooding frogs, that carried their eggs in their stomachs and gave birth to little froglets through their mouths.
Aww,
Amphibians emerged at a
I
time
liked
when
those,
all
but
the
now
land
they're
on Earth
gone.
was part of a single expanse, known as Pangea. Since the breakup of Pangea, they've adapted to conditions on every continent except Antarctica. Worldwide, just over 7,000 species have been identified, and while the greatest number are found in the tropical rainforests, there are occasional amphibians, like the sandhill frog of Australia, that can live in the desert, and also amphibians, like the wood frog, that can live above the Arctic Circle. Several common North American frogs, including spring peepers, are able to survive the winter frozen solid, like popsicles. Their extended evolutionary history means that these groups of amphibians that, from a human perspective, seem to be fairly similar, may, genetically speaking, be as different from one another as, say, bats are from horses. David Witt, one of the authors of the article that sent me to Panama, was among those who initially did not believe that amphibians were disappearing. This was back in the mid-1980s. When students began returning from frog collecting trips in the Sierra Nevada empty-handed, Witt remembered from his own student days in the 1960s that frogs in the Sierras had been difficult to avoid. You'd be walking through meadows and you'd inadvertently step on them, he told me. They were just everywhere. Witt assumed that his students were going to the wrong spots, or that they just didn't know how to look. Then a postdoc with several years of collecting experience told him that he couldn't find any amphibians either. I said, okay, I'll go up with you and we'll go out to some proven places, Wade recalled. And I took him out to this proven place, and we found like 2 toads. Part of what made the situation so mystifying was the geography. Frogs seemed to be vanishing not only from populated and disturbed areas, but also from relatively pristine places, like the Sierras and the mountains of Central America. In the late 1980s, an American herpetologist went to the Monte Verde Cloud Forest Reserve in northern Costa Rica to study the reproductive habits of golden toads. She spent 2 field seasons looking, where once the toads had mated in writhing masses, a single male was sighted. The golden toad, now classified as extinct, was actually a bright tangerine color. It was only very distantly related to the Panamanian golden frog, which, owing to a pair of glands located behind its eyes, is also technically a toad. Around the same time, in central Costa Rica,
Hello, Benito. How are you doing?
of several endemic frog species had crashed.
It's the WINDUP currently. We're listening to the 6th. One second.
Were much more familiar
I want to get it right.
in Ecuador.
The 6th Great Extinction Event, Chapter 1. The 6th Extinction. They're talking about toads, particularly golden toads, which are now officially extinct.
Could no longer be
But
found.
the audible's being difficult.
Mysterious killer that was claiming frogs from Queensland
The
to
book is written
California.
by Elizabeth Colbert,
Ironically,
and it's on Audible. It's not a bad read or listen.
in Washington, D.C.,
Though I will say it's kind of depressing. Some of these animals I had wanted to see at some point, and now
generations.
I might get lucky and see them in a zoo.
The zoo's 10 bred frogs started dropping. A veterinary
Oh, it's good. It's just, for example, the golden frog, a very distant relative to the golden toad, is being saved by one Argentinian worker co-op, more or less, that is run more or less by just a husband and wife pair that's trying their best to save this animal. And thanks to the people around, like the community, these frogs that used to have like a giant stronghold on the forest, well, now they're living in a hotel. Literally, that the hotel rooms are booked out for frog tanks, and they're having to keep them in almost CDC-like condition in order to guarantee their safety. They're working, but they're still years from getting pairs that can go back out into the wild, so it's like a Noah's Ark of sorts. And it's not the only effort, just with smaller animals it's easier. I mean, there's also been talks about trying, as bad and as controversial as it sounds, to break some of these amphibians and reptiles onto the pet market because, I mean, if they taste good or if they're pretty to us, we tend to save them. I mean, cats aren't going to go extinct anytime soon, nor are dogs. Tigers, however, I mean, lions. The lions of Barbary are finally about to be reintroduced into the wild after almost, I want to say it's been 80 plus years. We have not in our lifetime seen a living wild tiger of Barbary. They're finally going to be reintroduced, but I mean, is it the same tiger? Or not tiger, but is it the same lion? And this was a lion that was legendarily, like, enduring and strong. I mean, the lion that Hercules or Heracles supposedly slew was a lion. Was a lion of Barbary. That one I think is just the cleaning products I use to get into my sinuses. But yeah, it's pretty fucking sad to think about.
But I couldn't help also feeling that there was something awfully sad about the painted green hills and the big waterfall. With almost no frogs left in the forests around El Valle.
I mean, did y'all know at one point there was a salamander that could grow to be the size of a person? You can find it on Pokemon. In the wild, it's gone. And that one wasn't even one we could technically catch. That one was just byproduct of pollution, oopsie daisy. It's, like I said, y'all, it's amazing to think about, but it's also, hell, make conscientious decisions as best you can. No fault, no blame. We're all to blame, but, you know.
Everyone I spoke to in feedback told me that the center's goal was to maintain the animals until they could be released to repopulate the forests. And everyone also acknowledged that they couldn't imagine how this would actually be done. We've got to hope that somehow it's all going to come together.
Yeah, that was a misplace.
A herpetologist from the Houston
I'm kind of proud of this. I'm kind of scared to say that I'm proud of this because I know the game's going to throw me a curveball as soon as I get comfy. But this is still survival.
Which now that I say it out loud, sounds kind of stupid. But the point is to be able to take them back, which every day I see more like a fantasy, Griffith said. Once Kindred swept through El Valle, it didn't stop. It continued to move east. It has also since arrived in Panama from the opposite direction, out of Colombia. BD has spread through the highlands of South America and down the eastern coast of Australia. It has crossed into New Zealand and Tasmania. It has raced through the Caribbean.
Now the question is, where did I put my room?
Switzerland and France. In the US, it appears to have
That way leads to critters.
not so much in a wave-like pattern as in a series
And there is a room here somewhere with a bed in it.
for all intents and purposes.
I just have misplaced it.
The same way acoustical engineers speak of background noise, biologists talk about background
I need to find it because it's also where my workbench is down here.
understood to mean whole geologic atoms.
Not down that way.
Takes place only
There it is.
more rarely even in speciation, and it occurs at what's known as the background extinction rate. This rate varies from one group of organisms to another. Often it's expressed in terms of extinctions of living species.
On the happier note from the YouTube page, it's for California though, more than for us. But there's a new to me YouTube channel. Crime pays, but botany doesn't. And they're doing some pretty cool shit with like public areas and spaces, and just sort of doing what I'm doing, but out in California. Unapologetically, just, hey, we'll plant it. If the city pays to rip it up, cool, we're providing city work, and we keep planting. Be as stubborn as the ones who are destroying the planet about saving it. And I'm not saying be violent. I'm not saying wait for the cops and crack them over the head when they rip up your plants. Quite the opposite. Let them do it. Plant more. Let them see that when it comes to nature, you can fight the battle, but you will lose the war. And the beauty of things like edible plants is just that. Until they start radiating the plants as we get them, or freezing them before we get them, we can always get seeds to grow. I'm just waiting for the hydroponics to take so I can start doing the whole, you know, you see it go by in like 5 seconds, but for me it's a 6-month video kind of thing.
Species are at a low risk of extinction most of the time. With this condition of relative safety,
I said, y'all, 90% of it is just going to end up being, be as stubborn as the ones who are killing the planet. I mean, hell, we told the companies for years, hey, don't dump chemicals in the water. It's been over 100 years. They're still dumping chemicals in that motherfucking water. So, we start cleaning it. We do it until we can fix it. If that takes my lifetime and yours, so be it. It's a commitment. Hell, our ancestors made a promise. I mean, truth be told, I'd like to take a more DC comic villain Poison Ivy perspective on it, but I can't say that on YouTube, nor would I want to, like, have y'all do anything dangerous and effective. Because I do think if, you know, we fed a few dozen of these CEOs into their own chemical vats, it might convince them to stop pouring those chemical vats in water systems that feed into areas for people and animals to eat and drink.
in other words, odds
But then again, I don't know, because 10 years ago, it was a big gotcha that you'd take river water, bring it into your congressional meeting, put it in front of them, and go, okay, but would you drink it? Y'all, some of those politicians are stupid enough that, yeah, they will. That they don't care. They've got the medical care that if they poison themselves, they'll be fine about it. And yet, you know, kids in, where was it? Shit. They haven't improved it, it's just nobody talks about it anymore. That they had bad pipes. Shite. Now I'm just as responsible as the rest for forgetting them. Flint, Michigan. See, I remembered. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Sorry, not really a laughable matter, but yeah, did they ever fix the water in Flint, Michigan, or are those people still drinking Kool-Aid and paying for city water? Because again, it shouldn't be on the people. That should be on the corporations and the city officials that poison the water supply. Also, perhaps, you know, after this much time of them not correcting the problem, maybe, just maybe, we should, you know, look into criminal charges, because those good people are still paying for poison water. And don't get too cocky, you might also be doing it. Here in Cartersville, well, it depends on which side of the tracks you fall on, but your water might have lead in it. Now, I'm not going to raise alarm. If it is that, if you are one of the affected people, you have gotten a letter in the mail, or your landlord got a letter in the mail. Because for the low price of around $200, you can pay for the city to fix the water line that they should be fixing with your tax dollars. And yes, more or less they'll come out, they'll dig up your pipes, they'll pull out your pipes, and they'll replace your pipes. And $200 is, I'm not a plumber, but I'm guessing a steal for like heavy-duty plumbing work. But you know, I'm no political scholar, but I thought water was one of those things we pay for just out of taxes for the maintenance and per gallon for the usage. So now why am I having to pay extra for the same water that, you know what I mean? I'm not being a dick about it if some government official can go, well, actually, cool, awesome. At least give us the kindness of explaining it to us, though, rather than just, here, plebe, buy my water. Because, you know, Nestle also thinks that water isn't a human right, but that you should, you know, pay for this or die. And they're perfectly fine with dying being your option. I, for one, am not. I think that that's a mark of extreme weakness as a society. Because again, and that's for right-wingers, left-wingers, hell, y'all, that's for those horrible monsters like the Epstein cunts. I still don't think they should die of thirst. I still think that they should have a trustworthy source of water. Now, yes, perhaps that trustworthy source of water needs to come in the form of pipes that are going into a federal facility so they never get anywhere near children. But still, water. Just, you know, same as diabetics with insulin. If you need it to live, damn it, you should be able to get that, period. Just, period. I should not have to explain it any further than that. They need it so they don't die. Okay. I mean, we bend over backwards to give billionaires easy lives. The least we could do is make sure the citizens paying for that life get to not die. And I know it's not impossible, because the rest of the world's already figured that shit out. Like I said, y'all know how I feel about it. It is the wind-up stream, but I'm just trying to have a sort of chill start to my day. It's been a rough week as far as the workload goes. Oh, also, I think those were muscadine. Nope, I did not upload that video yet. There are several new berries that are growing on the roadside, and while I cannot take, well, I can take them, I'm taking those berries, but while I can harvest the berries and I can grow from them, I can't really in good conscience eat nor give them away to be eaten. But I think if I'm not badly mistaken, I might have found some muscadine. And if I found muscadine, well, perhaps I can get it growing far enough away from the road that my friends and neighbors can enjoy both the delicious edible food as well as, for those who know how to do it, a fine Southern tradition wine. Like I said, I don't know. Right now I need to first identify and make sure that is indeed what I'm looking at, because it was growing next to the porcelain berry, which is an invasive from East Asia, I want to say. I've been using my cell phone like a tricorder. If it's too hot and muggy for me to do a video, I tend to, you know, take documentation of what I find on the wall. So ideally, when it's not quite so muggy, I can take a video of it. Also, if you happen to be that one guy in the truck with his kid that offered me the ride, I'm sorry I was so awkward about politely refusing, but I was documenting plant and animal life along the roadside. That wasn't just bullshit. That I realize how much that sounds like bullshit, but real talk, I try to document where I can. For example, y'all, people saying JoJo spiders or Joro spiders are invasive, y'all, I don't think you realize how invasive. Aw. Well, Benito, I hope you have a wonderful evening's sleep. I forget that normal people are going to bed at this hour. But be safe out there, stay hydrated. I hope the weather starts to improve where you're at. And for anyone else, I will continue, I suppose. But Joro spiders they range in size, and they're not dangerous per se, but you certainly don't want to get bitten by them. They're like wood or dock spiders. They chew. And in the case of the Joro spiders, I guess because of that chewing nature and the lack of real venom, their webs are similar consistency to fishing line. And I don't know if y'all know how unpleasant it is for a mentality like mine to suddenly hit fishing line, but yeah, the first time I hit it, I thought some silly hillbilly had set a trap. To find out, no, it's actually worse than that. It's not a trip line, it's a web. I want to catch a few of them for sake of taking into the people that would know what to do officially, but at the same time, I've also been reading where they're invasive enough that perhaps new neighbors, not an invasive species. I mean, for example, anyone who loves tarantulas. I'm starting to wonder if Benito brings a friend with him, or if the council's counting Benito as two people. Because I realize Benito just went to bed, and I hope Benito7622, if you're watching in the future later, hey, what up? Hope you have a good day at work. Just reiterating that. But when they left, both left at the same time. I'm not complaining. I'm happy for any help we can get. But yeah, I don't know what to do about the Joro spiders, because yeah, I could smash, but there's a lot of them. And y'all, my heart's not in it. I mean, to me, these spiders are just refugees heading from a different spot, you know? I don't want them to invade, but at the same time, I can hardly be like, oh yeah, the area you call home is slowly getting destroyed because of my bad habits and such. Let me smash you for daring to invade our area, which there's already a niche available to you because, you know, we don't take care of our areas very well. I don't know, y'all. I'm constantly, and I guess that's part of trying to get educated on all this stuff as best I can. I'm constantly reminded of how lacking my knowledge is. And how, whoa there, Skipper, let's slow it down a second. Let's check that. Let's check that. Is that your feelings, or is that what we've got factually? Because again, I think it's just part of getting an education in this kind of stuff, y'all, I constantly feel like, who the fuck am I to talk about this stuff? I'm just a fucking fry cook. Shut the fuck up and make the fries. But it's like, you know, somebody's got to start. And hell, any idiot can write down, today I saw 10 of these, yesterday I saw 5 of them. Clearly we're getting more from somewhere. And that's how it feels with a lot of these Joro spiders, is just that. First time I walked home, I hit like 1 or 2 webs. Now, well, y'all, to be honest, if I wasn't carrying a sack with me or collecting garbage on some of these walks, I would be wanting to carry a walking stick just to break some of these webs. Like I said, I don't know completely what to do. It's the same as we've been taught for years by Smokey the Bear. Only you can prevent forest fires. Well, listen to the grandfathers. Forest fires are actually not so bad if you do controlled burns. Now, that being said, don't go out there with a box of matches there, Skipper. Hold on now. Hold on there, eager beaver. You need to understand what the forest is asking of you before you go being a firebug. But if you are in the forestry department or you work with the forestry division, yes, fire is a very good option for clearing wild areas and for maintaining habitats. That being said, much like with any other thing, let the professionals cook. Don't interfere. They know what they're doing. We don't completely know what we're doing. I hope I'm coming off as more funny rather than lecturing there, because y'all my feet. I've damaged the top of my foot somehow, either between the heavy amounts of walking and working, or the fact that on occasion when I go to almost fall in the kitchen or elsewhere, I'll catch whatever surface is near with my foot and basically hold my body weight on a foot. I don't know what's caused it, but now if I fully extend my foot like I'm trying to kick or do a dancer's point, it's pain. It's hot, radiating, horrible pain and agony in the top. I'm good as long as it's relaxed or I'm just walking on it or whatever, but y'all, if I try to bend my foot or oh no. Like I said, y'all, I don't know what people come out here for. If it's for the human part of it, I'm here for it. If it's for the what we're doing to make things better, we're here for that. I'm still figuring myself out on here. I just know that I want to be a force for good, and hell, Captain Planet told me for years we can be the difference. We just gotta be real hard about it. I need to go make more stairs. I kinda wish I knew how to make better stairs, I think is what I'm looking for. Something that's see-through, but not... I don't like glass. I don't think you can make glass stairs. I don't know what I'm working on yet. We're probably honestly about to get off of here for a hot minute. set up the fallout shelter in such a way that I'd invite y'all to see it, and probably do a little bit of Cult of the Lamb playthrough here in just a little bit. Before we do any of that, though, I want to just thank y'all for coming out, and if we can, I'd like to get a little bit further out in this build. Oh, that was a find right there. All in premium condition, too. That was a find, y'all. Hell yeah. Full set of gold armor. I'll take that. I'll take that anytime. Let's keep going and see what we can't find. Is that a... Did we just stumble on a village? Hell yeah, we did. Fuck yeah. There can be miracles. Very overgrown now. Oh, we got villagers. Hello, friend. How are you? I need to make some leather to sell you. What about you, friend? What you got? Okay, this is a leather-working village, clearly. Okay, we got one that buys paper. That's pretty awesome. I would have never seen y'all. Not what I meant to do. It's just weird to think of fucking Jefferson writing about mastodons.
The animals of the New World were smaller and more generous than those of the Old. The creature, Jefferson agreed with Hunter, was probably carnivorous. It was still out there somewhere. It could not be found in Virginia. It was roaming those parts of the continent that remain in their aboriginal state, unexplored and undisturbed. When, as president, he dispatched Meriwether Lewis and William Clark to the northwest, Jefferson hoped that they would come upon live distribution roaming its forests. Such was the economy of nature, he wrote, that no instance can be produced of her having permitted any one race of her animals to become extinct, of her having formed any link in her great work so weak as to be broken. Cuvier arrived in Paris in early 1795, half a century after the remains from the Ohio Valley had reached the city. He was 25 years old, with wide-set gray eyes, a prominent nose, and a temperament one can compare to the exterior of the earth. Generally cool, but capable of violent tremors.
I'd say we did pretty good for the time.
Small town on the Swiss border, and had few contacts.
We will, of course, add more to it later.
He had managed to secure a
We will be back, but we have found a village in the distance.
regime on the one hand, and
We got a little bit more planting done,
an older
and we mined on down.
like a mushroom. Cuvier's job at Paris
We will be back to do more here in just a little bit.
King's cabinet was officially complete. But in his spare time, he delved into the museum's collection. He spent long hours studying the bones that Montjoy had sent to Louis XV, comparing them with other specimens. On April 4th, 1796, or, according to the revolutionary calendar in use at the time, 15 Germinal Year 4, he presented the results of his research at a public lecture.
I was just full of rocks now. Okay.
Europeans had known for a long time that there were elephants in Africa, which were considered dangerous, and elephants that resided in Asia, which were said to be more docile. Still, elephants were regarded as elephants, much as dogs were dogs, and others ferocious. On the basis of his examination of the elephant remains at the museum, including one particularly well-preserved skull from Ceylon, and another from the Cape Good Hope, Cuvier had recognized, correctly of course, that the two belonged to separate species. It is clear that the elephant from Ceylon differs more from that of Africa than the horse from the ass, or the goat from the sheep, it was said. Among the animal's many distinguishing characteristics were their teeth. The elephant from Ceylon had molars with wavy ridges on the surface, like festoon ribbons, while the elephant
But alrighty, y'all. Been an hour and 17 minutes. We thank y'all for coming out.
looking at live
We'll be back to do more in the morning. Oh, in the morning. Back to do more here in a little bit. I'm about to go make another cup of coffee. And probably either break into Fallout a little bit for the first time, the Fallout shelter. Or we'll do a bit of Cult of the Lamb. I don't know. Either way, we'll see y'all there. And we thank y'all for coming out. Alright, y'all. Bye for now.
do not exactly resemble those of an elephant. They belong to another species entirely. As for the teeth of the animal from Ohio, well, a single glance was sufficient to see that they differ still further. What has become of these two enormous animals?